your host, Mimosa,
and co-host Kareem.
Welcome to Sometimes We're Boujee and Sometimes We Hood, to healing, navigating grief. It's a podcast dedicated to exploring the complex emotions of loss, the road to healing, and the strength found in remembrance. Welcome in. Welcome to Sometimes We're Boujee, Sometimes We're Hood. It's a podcast dedicated to exploring the complex emotions of loss, the road to healing, and the strength found in remembrance. I am your host, Auntie Mimosa.
Yes, cousin Kareem.
And we have a special co-host today, Nurse Tasha.
Hello.
And yeah, whether you're going or whether you're in the depths of grief, slowly learning to live with loss, or supporting someone on their journey, this space is for you. Grief is deeply personal. There's no timeline, no rule book, no right way to navigate it, but through shared experiences, honest conversations, and moments of reflection, we can find comfort, understanding, and hope. In today's episode, we talk about the silent, often invisible weight of loss and the strength it takes to carry it. So we're diving into conversation that's raw, that's real, rarely talked about in the open, which is grief and rejection. Whether you've lost someone, are recovering grief yourself, or someone who struggles, then this episode is for you. Rejection doesn't just sting, it lingers, and it can feel like mourning the version of you someone didn't choose to love, hire, or see. So grab your tea, because this one is honest. So in part one, we talked about rejection, the weight of rejection. We talked about the inner dialogue, those voices that we hear, the no, the you're not enough, you're too much, it always happens to you, the rejection whispers that just lies in the voices of your old wounds. Right? And we talked about the difference between numbing, avoiding, and gently containing what we feel. So just to kind of give our listeners, if you were not on last Sunday, the definition or the difference between the three is that numbing is like shutting down your emotional response so you don't feel it at all, right? It looks like overeating, binge watching, drinking, scrolling endlessly, and overworking. And the goal, conscious or not, is to make the feeling disappear completely. The problem with that is the feeling doesn't actually go away, right?
Right.
It gets buried, it gets pushed down, and it returns much, much stronger later on. Okay. Yeah. Then there's the avoiding. Avoiding is delaying or sidestepping the feeling entirely by distracting yourself or steering clear of a trigger. And it looks like refusing to talk about the situation. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. Staying away from certain people, places, and pretending it never happened. It didn't happen. And the goal for that is like not dealing with it at all. Like maybe if I don't think about it, it'll go away. It'll just vanish. It'll poof into thin air, right? The problem with that is avoidance can prolong the pain because you don't get an opportunity to process it or release it or let it go. The third is gentle containing. And that is allowing yourself to feel the emotions, but giving them a safe and limited space so they don't overwhelm you, right? It's like setting a timer to cry or journal, breathing exercises, grounding techniques, telling a friend, I'll share more about this tomorrow or later when I've rested or able to process, right? So, and the goal in that is honoring the feeling without letting it consume your whole day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Benefit is that you stay emotionally present and self-compassionate, but also functional. So Tashi, I want to start in with Tashi, cousin Kareem, on this one because Tosh, you had an opportunity to listen to what we were saying last Sunday.
Right.
Tell us your thoughts, your reflections on that, where you stand.
Well, me as a person, I usually go with the first one. I'm a chronic overeater. I think food solves everything.
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah. So I think that my favorite whatever
Mm-hmm.
will solve any hurt, any pain. I also push people away and isolate. I'm a like if I'm going through grief, pain, any type of grief, any type of pain, whatever variety of it there is, I will isolate. I
Mm-hmm.
will shut people out and be quiet. Now I know that because I'm a nurse, I know that those aren't good things to do, but I don't. I have a way of not being able to avoid my triggers, and
Mm-hmm.
then when I'm angry or grieving or sad, I'm not able to communicate well.
Mm-hmm.
I come from I have a loss of words. So to be able to say to someone, I'll come back around or I'll loop around and talk about this at a later time when I've had an opportunity to lay down or grieve or cry or whatever the case may be,
Mm-hmm.
it to me seems like too many words. It's like in my mind, you already see that I'm grieving. You already see that I'm upset. Just leave me alone.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
just just leave me alone. Don't
Right.
I don't need you to come to me and tell me, is there anything you can do? No, there isn't anything that you can do. You can leave me alone. That's what you can
Gotcha.
do. So I like to take care of my own. It's not good. It's not healthy. I'm not a proponent of that for anyone. I'm actually the reverse for everybody else. I'm the person when someone else is grieving that will bring you food, try to sit with you, try to get you to talk and all those things. But then when it comes to me, I don't know how to do the same.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
So yeah,
All right.
yeah.
So
That's why I asked that question last week. I was
the
like,
three, the difference between the three.
yeah, I'm like, what's the difference? Because the two of them sound the exact same to me.
Right, right.
One
Gotcha.
and two sounds the same.
So what the two sound the same as far as like the avoiding and the numbing?
Yes.
Oh, gotcha. So yeah, numbing is basically is the it's the shutting down, pressing down those emotions, and like we said, avoiding is just I don't want to deal with it right now. You don't want to deal
Yeah.
with it, but eventually you end up dealing with it. Um, so we talked about divorce. That was one of the things that cousin Kareem and I talked about as far as like rejection,
Mm-hmm.
divorce,
Mm-hmm.
rejection with jobs, and
Mm-hmm.
that pushing through that, like pushing through the pain. And I shared with our viewers that I had a support person who basically said to me, you only get 3 days. Three.
Right.
Friday,
Yeah.
Saturday, Sunday, Monday, you hitting the road, you're gonna hit the ground running because you don't have time. You got two sons, you gotta, take care. You don't have time to wallow in this,
Right.
in this. So
But you gotta
I
give
wanted to know
context to
that.
that because it wasn't all grief. It wasn't just all despair. It was a specific thing that she was talking about.
it
Yeah,
was
she said that you needed to get your excuse my language, but you need to get your ish together.
Together. Yes, she did. She told she did. She did. She told me you need to get it together. She said, I'll give you 3 days and that's all you get. Because she
Yeah,
was like, I wasn't going to wallow. She would not allow me to wallow in my feelings of being hurt, of being rejection. And at that time, I didn't know what it was. I was angry. I was
right,
angry. I was angry at how it was done, how my,
right,
ex-husband decided he wanted to leave. I was angry at the fact that, you know, we really had grown apart and didn't the communication and the comprehension and understanding of one another, it just was not there. um and I was angry at the fact that he had made a promise, which we probably shouldn't have done, which was that we would never divorce or separate. We would just be in the marriage for however long we needed to do until the kids got grown. But he broke that, you know.
the
um
fact that you had to have a conversation about that to me, is a red flag.
and
Like,
it was
you already got it in your head that you leaving. You already thinking about that you leaving, and then you gonna tell me that you will never leave. Well, you already thinking about it, bruh.
Well, then it was like early on, because when we decided to get married, the conversation we had was that we would never divorce. We would never divorce and we would never leave each other. So that was the conversation that we had early on, that divorce was not an option for either one of us. However, he broke that. He broke
Yeah,
that.
those conversations come up from people who are who've witnessed that situation with their parents. They don't want to go through
Yeah,
that. They don't want to feel what their kids feel. They don't want their kids to feel what they felt. So that's why
yeah.
those conversations come up. I believe it's like
Well,
a
to me,
way
go
to
ahead.
introduce it into interject it in. Like, look, this is my fear. Is this your fear? Let's come together
Okay.
and make an agreement to avoid so this fear doesn't come to pass. Because
Mm.
some people just don't, you know, they've experienced that pain and they want their children to avoid that pain.
Yeah,
The
I guess so.
conversation.
Well, now here's the difference. Here's something different. Um, his parents never divorced.
Mm. See, that's crazy.
His
See,
parents never.
that's a definite red flag for
Yeah,
me.
right.
Like, if you haven't had that trauma before, like Kareem said, if you never had that trauma before, you
Hmm.
never seen that trauma before, and it
Right.
isn't something that's in your mental space,
Hmm.
then why would you bring that particular conversation up before marriage unless it's already something that you're thinking about?
Yeah,
Like,
that was premeditated. Yep.
yeah, that's just real creepy. Like, what? You
Right. So
sorry, bro.
back then, you're talking about myself being 21 and him
Yeah,
being 24.
yeah,
So, and of
yeah.
course, because that, of the fact that I really had not been in serious relationships like that. I mean,
Right,
at 21, how many serious relationships are you going to have? So, one or two, right? I may have had
right,
one serious relationship. And, my parents were never married. My grandmother raised me. My
right,
grandfather was not there. The men in my family, there wasn't, and coming up in the 70s, those conversations just didn't happen with us as
right,
kids and as teenagers. We didn't have those conversations. Um, I know, like, my godfather and his wife had separated, but they never divorced. And to this day, they never divorced, never divorced. Um, um, and even though, they went on about each other's lives, they didn't have children. Um,
right.
but yeah, my ex-husband, his parents were together. They were together until his father transitioned. His mother, they lived together, four children. He's the baby, and his parents were together until his father transitioned. So I'm not sure. Like I said, early on, I couldn't pinpoint it. I had no idea what red flags look like in the beginning of the relationship to determine if that was a red flag or not. Now today,
Gotcha.
that's another
Hindsight is 2020. That's what they say.
right. Today, that's another story. If
Yeah,
someone came up to me with that, I'd be like, "Why are we even having this discussion? For what?
that part.
Why are we even here? If we here, then that means we don't need to be together." You know.
Yeah,
But yeah, so with that, like I said, I had the support person there when
yeah.
he left to tell me I had 3 days to get my ish together and cry, scream, shout, process whatever I need to process because come Monday, it was a whole new journey I was starting on, a whole new chapter.
I got a
So,
question.
mhm.
I got a question for Kareem, actually.
Oh,
Okay.
good.
Uh,
Okay.
um, with her saying that she had someone support someone to tell her to not be so emotional. Do you feel like um it was needed more so for women to have that than for men to have that? Because I don't hear too many stories of men saying that they had somebody telling them that they needed to get their stuff together. Men kind of don't let their emotions run rampant.
Oh no, you know why? So this is what happens with men. They'll have a spot or a couple of friends that will like yoke them up. Like, what's wrong with
Okay.
you, man? Like, get your act together. What you gonna do? Sit down and just wallow in this? You ain't gonna get back in
Right.
the game, or you ain't gonna just because it'll be like the barbershop talk. We're not gonna
Got
talk
you.
about it because what
Mhm.
happens a lot of time is um no offense to your Mimi's not like this. This is my first time meeting you, but it's like when a man exposes his style, like I couldn't get through it. Then all of a sudden, that's like I'm gonna put that right there, because the next time this dude acts effeminate, I'm gonna bring that up. And
Okay.
it's just like, and so it becomes a tactic for some women who aren't mature enough to just throw that back in his face. Oh, you a weak man. Remember that time?
Right.
And so you don't hear about it is because we don't want you to record it.
Got
you know,
you. In our
play
mental memory banks.
exactly.
Mhm.
We don't want that playback because this was a moment of weakness, and we yeah. And here now we're getting it thrown back in our face, and it's
Right.
just like it's doubling down on a regret. It's doubling down on a mindset that you don't want to have to deal with. And all men at one point in time have done it. And then
Yeah.
when it happens, you just get more and more jaded. That armor just gets thicker and thicker. And
Mhm.
you're not going to do that anymore the next time. And it's
Got
generally the only women that you can do that with are the women that have been family members
you. Mm,
and women who just act like I just don't give a damn anymore. I don't care,
Mhm.
And then you'll tend to gravitate towards that female because
Right.
she's like, I don't care no more. It doesn't make a difference. But on a
got you.
regular, just to another woman who might be in that pool of dating,
Hmm.
a dude might be in the pool of dating, you're never going to express that feeling of like, I need to just get my act together. Like, shut up, get your act together, accept it, excuse me,
Mhm.
and do that. You might talk about it, but you're never going to leave yourself open to that replay because you don't want to get thrown back on you. See, you're weak
Got
just
you.
like that,
Right.
That's
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's another reason why I do use isolation. I have the support for people to say,
Mhm.
you know, you get your stuff together, don't cry. Because my mother, I was gonna ask you earlier, was that my mother you was talking to? Because girlfriend don't let you sit in your feelings. Not if you have something to do. She'll be like, you got
Right.
something to do, you better cry and walk. You better cry and pick up that paper. You better cry and do laundry.
Mhm.
Whatever you got to do while crying, you got to do it and just keep on moving. But my mother is not a proponent of wallowing. So I have the support, but I've
Mhm.
had too many people who weren't necessarily for me
Mm-hmm.
to take my weakness and hold on to it and then regurgitate it later.
Right, right.
And the
So,
last thing I want is that.
right. And the lady at that time, I don't even know if she's still living. Her name was Carol Cromartie, and she's actually a published author. She wrote this book back in the 70s, 80s called White Men and My Stuff.
Mm,
Or White Men, yeah, I want to say White Men and My Stuff. Well, I have the book around here somewhere. Um, but I don't know if she's still living because at that time, um, and I always call her Miss Carol, she was in her 60s, 50s, 60s at that
okay.
time. So I have no idea if she's even still living. But I thanked her. I mean, the last time I spoke to her, I thanked her and told her that I was very grateful for what she did to me because I would have been lost. I would have
Yeah.
been lost. I would have had no idea, like what the next steps were, what they were supposed to look like, or how I was supposed to move forward dealing with that. Um, but let's talk about redefining rejection, right?
Okay.
So you probably may or may not have heard of this phrase: rejection is redirection. Now,
Yeah, I've heard of that.
you heard of
Nope,
that?
never heard of that.
No? Okay. So sometimes, yes, that's true. Um, something closed or something closes and something else could open. But oftentimes it's just like it's rejection. It's a door slammed shut and it hurts. So, and with that phrase, rejection is redirection, often comes with what's the biblical quote. A lot of people want to say, oh, when one door closes,
Closes, the other one
the door
opens.
opens, right? However, the truth of the matter is you were rejected. Like, and we don't have to sugarcoat it, right? It
Right.
it doesn't have to mean that there's a better door or a better opportunity waiting. Sometimes the only honesty you have, or the honest thing you can say is, this hurts me. This
Right.
hurts. And there is a method of what they call pain to power, right? Because that's what I use. I am the pain to power person. Um, where I allow whatever painful situation to catapult me forward to the next best thing. Um,
Hmm.
it's one of those, oh, you want to knock me down? Okay, yeah, you knock me down. But when I get up, once I stand up, now, and
Watch out.
not only am I standing up, but I'm standing up bigger. I'm standing up better. Um,
Right.
I'm standing up. You know what I'm saying?
Because
So
I got a point to prove.
exactly, exactly. And rejection doesn't always define our value either. And I think that's something that's hard to comprehend, that rejection doesn't define our value or who we are. It does damper, right?
Yeah.
Rejection does put a damper on our value. It does put a damper on who we think we are. It puts doubt in our minds when it comes to dealing with rejection, as far as being part of grief, right?
Right. Hmm.
Now, I mean, we all can reflect on some story in our life when we have been rejected and turned away, whether it was in a relationship, employment. Uh, Tosh and I, we come from the artistry side of poets and acting from that end of it. So we know it's not always pleasant to feel rejected.
No, it is not always pleasant. As a matter of fact, in certain industries, um, poetry, medicine, uh, it, those are the two that I can go off of because I'm in those two. But
Mm-hmm.
in specific industries, you get rejection more often than not. So you start developing a tough skin to it.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't even recognize that you're being rejected. It's like a normal word. No is a normal word.
It's like, eh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like
Okay.
sales. That's like I have like over a decade in sales, and I see people come in and like sales, and like they don't realize that sales is all about rejection and how to get over it, you know.
Right.
Mm.
And
Right.
I told some people, this one person, you ain't built for sales. It's like
Oh,
you
Tati
don't
knows
take
who it is.
Oh,
Tati
yeah,
knows.
okay,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
my bad. I was like you're not built for sales. You don't handle rejection very well. I mean, be honest with you. It was funny because when I moved to Hawaii, um, I had a lot of negative interactions with my bosses, which didn't end well. They went into they experienced your other field because I
Uh,
didn't handle rejection back then very well, or words of negative words. So I took it to the physical
heart.
side. But when I
Ah.
moved to Hawaii, I got into sales, and like a year and a half, I was
Mm-hmm.
talking to my friend. I was telling him about this dude I wanted to put my hands on. And he was like, "Bro, you've had that job for a year and a half without putting your hands on people." And I realized at that moment that learning sales helped me to communicate. That's kind of like what we're
Mm,
talking about with
right.
rejection and despair, the
Mm-hmm.
communication portion of it. And
Right.
I learned how to communicate to express my desire. My desire was trying to sell something. So whatever you said to me, I was going to figure out a way of how to get around that, even though it annoyed me,
Right.
upset me, pressed me. I had to figure out a way to get around all those emotions
Right.
to get to my ultimate goal. And
Right.
but it was
Mm,
a blessing for me because I didn't realize it at the time that I needed that.
Mm.
It was a way for me as a control. There was something that somebody said, and let me ask you guys from looking at men. Do you feel that men who are overly emotional is not masculine? When it comes to this is what I mean. Like if somebody says something to a man and he's just, oh man, blah, blah, he just wows out versus this a man who, because there have been men I've noticed this as I've looked back at myself, and I had to say I was over emotional. I didn't have a male figure in my life at that time. But then as I look back at some old heads that we call, I looked at how they used to handle stuff where they would never get emotional, like their levels would stay there. They would never, bounce off the top. Then you got these
yeah.
street cats who were like, every time somebody says something to them that they didn't want to hear, they be bouncing off the top of the meter. And then it made me realize it was like, majority of street dudes, that's how they act. And they
Yeah.
get rewarded for it. Oh, see, he knocked that dude out because he said something. It's just like, but he said something. He didn't physically touch him. He didn't,
I think.
insult somebody directly in front of him. That's something different. But
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
he just insulted him like your clothes is whack. Oh, look at those shoes. You know what I mean? Something stupid. And
Yeah.
then
That's
the dude,
that's it right there. I don't think that a man. I wouldn't consider a man to be overly emotional because of their response to a situation, but it would depend on the situation.
yeah,
Like if somebody stepped on their shoes, or if somebody did something that wasn't intentional, and then you still fly off the handle, you might need to get your emotions checked. You. It may be something you need some couch time and a hug for. Yes, but if it's something legit, no, no,
oh
Right.
no, of course. But that's what I'm talking
mm,
about. The small things. I didn't
no.
realize it for myself. There's been times where it wasn't anything really, how to say, necessary, or it wasn't truly effective. It wasn't anything disrespectful on another level. And I had to check myself after I heard this. because I realized the way it looks towards other young people who are looking up to, who
Mm-hmm.
might be looking up to as a man, and they see you fly off the handle over something tiny,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's just like the maturity. As I guess as you mature, speaking for men, as we mature as men, we realize we have to be more. And then, but for this on the same side for women, does that happens too? I would imagine, right?
Well,
Where you're
I'm gonna
not going
go.
to fly off the handle for a little thing.
Well, I'm gonna go back to reflection. Rejection doesn't define your value, right?
Right.
So, with experiencing rejection, depending on the situation, there's a growth of maturity there. And based off of your life experiences, is whether or not you have that maturity, because life experiences and I believe travel grow you. Okay. And for the men that may have, I'm gonna say, shotgun or short tempers, bomb
Mm-hmm.
have them little short wicks for tempers. One, it's learned. I want to say one, it's probably learned. Two, it's they have some issues that are unresolved, and
Right.
the way that they know how to, and they probably don't even recognize that they may be responding to trauma. It's a trauma response.
Yeah.
Right.
Um, so, as look, Nurse Tasha said, they may want to sit their behinds on somebody's chair somewhere or a couch, go to therapy,
Mm-hmm.
and have that side, that trauma, examine yourself, examine what's going on with you, because life has so much more to offer when you have the ability to take a step back, take a breather, take a step back, and go, okay, you know what, I'm not going to handle this situation like this, uh,
Right.
or I'm not going to explode. I'm not going to, I can just like what they say, like a water to a duck, let it roll off your back, let them roll off the,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Like, like so. With that, and I would say that the woman that throws a man's emotions or how he responds emotionally, for a woman who regurgitates that back or throws that up in a man's face, that's not a mature woman.
That's the learned behavior also.
Right, that's not a mature
Yeah.
woman. A woman that can look at her man and say it's okay, it's okay to cry, it's okay to be angry, or what can I do to help you be in a safe space to express your emotions.
Right.
And that's a mature woman, because you know um that's a mature woman. i've
Yeah.
seen I've seen
Fact.
countless, nah, I'm not gonna say countless men, but I have had men that I've dated, depending on the situation, cry in front of me.
Yeah.
Did I throw it back? No. Did I
No.
think
Why
they were
would you?
right? Did I think they were weak? No.
No.
I just let them know I'm here for you. Like, what do you need me to do? I'm here for you. Let it out. Get it out. Get it out your system. Cry. I'm your shoulder to lean on. I'm your shoulder to cry on. Let it go.
But I've also
Feel free
heard
to
during
respond.
this podcast,
Go ahead. I'm
Kareem
sorry.
say, I'm sorry, I was going to say, I have heard during this podcast, not this particular episode, but during this podcast, to say that people such as yourself, and I would include myself, but, I'm not going to, but people such as yourself are hard to come across. Are hard to come across. I mean, I've let people cry, men cry in front of me, and I haven't brought it back up or said anything. But I to me, I feel like that's just a mature woman,
Yeah.
not a special one.
Mm-hmm.
I just know I'm talking to dudes, right, about that whole cop topic of the rejection and sharing it. You know what I realized it came from? When you were talking, Mimi, was a couple of dudes was just like you said, and you were saying, Tasha, about learned behavior.
Yeah.
A man has a tough mom because they didn't have a dad.
Mm-hmm.
And that young man, went to his mom. His mom smacked him and told him, shut the hell up, stop that crying.
Mm-hmm.
That man now is locked into never expressing his emotions to a woman. Right. Until he finds that woman who will not throw it back in his face. Now, if a man goes from his mama to a woman, the first woman that he opens up to, and she acts the same way, that learned behavior gets locked in his head. And he'll probably never unlock that comfortability to be able to cry on his woman's shoulder. Facts. Because of learned behavior. So it's a double entendre as far as the woman. If that same man has a sister and sees that happen to her brother, she's gonna learn behavior, do that to her man because of the way the mama treated the son, and even her boyfriend or daddy or whatever like that. But it's almost like anyway, that's a whole nother topic.
But we see it in the families, especially within the African American culture. You have a male child about 2 years old. You know, children have no fear, right? The child falls, scrapes his knees. Here's the father. Boy, shut that noise up. Shut that crying up. You man. No, he's 2.
He's a human being. Let's find out what's wrong first.
You're 2 years old. You're a 2-year-old male child that has hurt themselves, and that's sometimes what it gets displayed. Whereas with girls, it's come here, you got a boo boo, let me, But I don't want to keep on to that because that's a whole that's a whole
nother topic.
It's a whole nother
topic. Yeah, it's a whole nother topic.
So when it comes to, like I said, redefining rejection, right? Of course, we know rejection does not define our value. It doesn't write the story for you. It doesn't decide whether you're lovable, whether you're worthy, or whether you're enough, right? So just to kind of do a brief reflection, think about a time where you experienced rejection. Like, did you turn it into a story about your worth, or was it a story? And is it a story you can tell now? Can you tell that story now?
Yeah.
Okay.
I definitely could tell that story now.
Yeah.
So how would
the only reason why I say that I could tell that story now is because it's past. If it was something current, I probably wouldn't be able to talk about it because it's current. Right. But if something happened to me in the past, then I can talk about it and discuss how I felt about it because I've had a chance to work through those emotions and have more emotions and deal with the trauma or the pain or whatever comes with it. I've had a chance to dissect it more or less.
Right.
But the current ones, I'm still working on those. So I can't, me personally, I wouldn't be able to tell you where I am with that situation.
Okay.
Yeah, for me, I think I can speak on it either way because I look at it as cycles of like a test in some way. That did you actually understand the rejection and how you got over it, or were you actually still holding on to it? Because I think that when you're going through something, you think you might have handled that situation the right way, and by overcoming the rejection, just to 2 months later have that same situation come up again, you realize, wait, I just went through this. Or you don't even recognize that you're going through the same type of rejection, whether it's dating or getting terminated from a job. and then you're like, wait a minute, this seems so familiar, but you don't have a hold on it. So did you really get over it? Did you really overcome that rejection? Until then the third time comes up, and then you recognize it immediately, and you're like, oh, here we go again. Nope, not doing that. And then now you can fully step away from it. Like, oh, that was just, that was them. That wasn't me now, or it was me because I put myself in that situation to get rejected. So, okay, so that happened. It's not going to happen again. I'm not going to put myself in that situation. I think for me, it's like the self-reflection on it is, especially when it's repetitive in the cycle, is you have to understand how you put yourself into that situation. And then, not just is it other person's fault, like how did you play into it? And then once you get to that level of maturity, then you can really handle, not saying that you're not mature, anybody's not mature, but I think that that's the ultimate level, is look at yourself and say, oh, I did this. I did this. It's like buying a bad car over and over again. When are you going
the same bad car?
Right. when you gonna learn?
Yeah, when you going to just buy a new one, except keep buying beaters for $1,000. Let's go out there and buy a new car, get your credit straight, and then not have to worry about it too much. You're gonna keep repeating the cycle and getting mad at yourself. Oh, boss, I'm late, and or you calling your friends up like, yo, I can't make it, having car trouble, and looking at you like, do you
always have car trouble?
Right.
No, but that's part of rejection too, because you look at that. If you're not reliable as a friend to come to a gathering because of said car problems, then guess what? You're not gonna get that phone call too much anymore, right? Like you're not gonna count on you to show up because you always have car problems. But if you fix the issue with the car problems, then you wouldn't have to worry about the rejection of not inviting you, because that's when you start finding out, hey, so and so had this. Like, where was my phone call? Like, checking your phone. What date was that? Like, did I miss that? But anyway, that's like my 2 cents. Self-reflection.
Right. Gotcha. So, and of course, like, our worth is not up for negotiation. It is not up for negotiation, especially not by those who couldn't see it. Right. I'm gonna say that again. Like, our worth, or I'm gonna put it this way, speak to the listeners, right? And the watchers. Your worth is not up for negotiation. Your worth is not up for negotiation, especially not by those who couldn't see it. Okay. So it's, we understand that, like, when it comes to grief, when it comes to those 7 stages and how they all look different in different areas of our lives, right? Where I'm gonna say, ask Tasha, where do you believe, like, do you think there's a limit on despair?
It should be.
Okay.
Only the reason why I say that is because you can feel so disparaged that you take yourself right on out of here.
Okay.
I mean, you can grieve so hard or be disparaged so hard that your heart stops pumping. So it should be a limit.
Gotcha. Right. So working in the mental health profession as a case manager, when it comes to grieving, I know, and I've seen this with a lot of my clients, where they have a tendency to use grief, or use, not necessarily grief, but use a grief moment to become an excuse for extracurricular activities, right? And or they new case managers or new people will come in and they'll try to play on that new person, utilizing that quote unquote moment of grief, such as a mother passing, a grandmother passing, an aunt passing. And then when you ask the question, it's like, oh, so when did this happen? You say, my condolences. How long has it been? 10 years, 15 years.
And you like,
Yeah.
10 years? Like you didn't get therapy, you didn't talk to anybody, your eye sockets aren't dry. I mean,
Sometimes, and I will look at my clients with the 10 years,
right, right,
you have not dealt with this in 10 years, and you've been in this program for how many years, and you see a psychiatrist once a week or once every other week or twice, and you have not addressed this?
right. Yeah, correct.
Like, who are you playing with?
Right,
It's one of those things. But when it comes to rejection is difficult. I agree. It is definitely something that is difficult to navigate. It is something that is difficult to handle, because we all do grieve rejection differently,
right,
right? For
It's a
some,
yeah.
right, and for some, it's a quiet withdrawal. For others, it is tears and venting to a friend, right?
yeah, right,
But either way, it's valid. The pain is valid. The heartbreak is real. The situation was very real that they went through. So, you know,
Let me ask you guys a question, you ladies, a question. What about the rejection from different aspects of life? Like, you got rejection from, like, I guess I relate things like three different parts, right? You have the people who are closest to you, the people who you relate to, and then you have your associates. Family,
right,
friends, and associates. When the
right.
rejection happens among the family or spousal, is that rejection take more time to heal from versus somebody you just met that you see every day? You know what I mean? Like, Like you see on the way to work or something like that, or the way into work, you just say hi because you're familiar with their face. You know what I mean? It's like, like, which one, like, do you think that the closeness makes it worse? Because
Yes,
just,
that is a
I
good
do.
question. So just to reiterate, does grief and rejection, does it hit harder if it's coming from somebody close or from a different aspect, whether it's romantic, friendship, family, career, creative, social, even self-rejection?
that's deep one,
Well,
right? So,
I can say personally
Mm-hmm.
that the inner monster that I created, unfortunately, um, the the only person that I am devastated over is like my close immediate circle. And
Mm-hmm.
it's not that many people in that circle. And I include family in that circle because my family has created a friendship with me that I can say that they're friend and family. So friend and foe. So
Okay.
my circle is so small. There's like maybe 10 people in that circle. Everybody else is literally associate, and that includes work, hobbies.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you don't like me? Okay. You don't want to do something with? Okay. Any form of rejection is okay. But you let Auntie Mimosa
Mhm.
tell me that she did not like something that I did that I feel passionate about, baby, I would have to recover. Like, let me holler at y'all later. Mm,
Yeah, yeah. But see, that could be a good thing though. That could be a good thing because a lot of times we put people into the friend box, not realizing that they're associates. It's just like you relate
Mhm.
to them, but you guys aren't really friends. Like, because you can't rely on them, you can't count on them, you can't, and they don't count on you. But we have so many labels, especially in a social society now, that
right.
we dub everybody as a friend until they
Friend,
do
yes.
something like that, where they reject you, and all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, were they really my friend? But I think that that's more healthier to put people in. Hey, I got a small circle of friends, and the
Mhm.
rest of y'all is associate. I'll tell you to your face, we ain't friends. We relate to each other, but yeah,
Right.
we friendly, but
Right.
we're not
Right.
friends. Because I'm not trying to have you all in my business, and I definitely don't want to hear about all your business. Like
Mhm.
you on that whole nother level of drama. Like, and I don't
Mhm.
need to be taking up a space in my mind. Like, nah, I'm not doing that.
Right.
So
Like I've had to literally I have one friend that we've been friends 30 plus years, and I cannot call her my friend. I have to call her my sister. I say that she's my sister, but she's not my biological sister. But
yeah,
when I'm introducing her, I tell everybody, hey, this is my sister. But when I'm talking, if I say I'm going out with Auntie Mimosa, if I tell her I'm going out with Mimosa, she's like, oh, okay. But
Mhm.
let me say that I'm going out with somebody else, and I say, we use, like you said, we use that word loosely. If I say I'm going to hang out with a friend, she'll be like, friend? What? You don't have no friends. And I'm like, wait a minute.
Look,
Hold
Nurse
on.
Garner.
rewind.
Look, Nurse Garner only has 5 friends. Okay, and I
That's
can.
it.
A handful. That's all you need. That's all you
And,
need is a
and we
handful.
look, we all know each other, and we can all name each other. Okay, so it's
That's that is it. And these particular five, if I try to add one to the group,
no,
whoo, that is
no,
not gonna happen.
Yeah, did they
and
pass the test? Yeah, did they pass all the qualifications for all
Right,
of us? Yeah, right.
right. Everybody like, you got a new friend. What?
right. Let
We
me
don't know
tell y'all.
them.
Let me tell
Yeah.
y'all. Let me tell you. Let me tell you stories. So talk about acceptance and rejection, right? So a few months back, I went to uh moo party, right? Okay, and this is with I went to a moo party, and this was a former coworker that invited me. Here we go, labels, right? Former
Mhm.
coworker, right? We've kind of hung out from time to time. Went to the moo party, had a great time at the moo party. So about a day or two later, I get a phone call or a text message from, I think it was a text message from her saying that all of the ladies that were at the moo party, because they were really her circle of friends, right?
Mhm.
Had a great time and enjoyed me. And they said that I was accepted into the circle. I was like,
Thanks,
oh,
but no thanks.
Like I got my own circle. Sorry.
thank you. I said thank you. I enjoyed them too. Now, if they and I appreciate I was like I was
Sentiment.
honored by the
Yeah.
fact that she was like, oh yeah, they really liked you. You can come hang out with us again. Blah blah. I was honored by that. Um, had they said that they didn't care for me or did not, I wouldn't have, it wouldn't have bothered me none the least. It would not have bothered me. So because I have like Tosh said, we have our circle. Okay. It's very small. It is.
Very, very small.
And
And Kareem, listen, I am not like my circle. That is what's crazy. I'm exactly like my circle, but I'm not like my circle. They can go out and go to different places with different people and, oh, this is my friend. And I'm like, oh, okay. Did you have a good time? Let me say that. That is not that. It don't even go down. What? You got a friend? Where's this friend? Have we ever met this friend? Do we talk to this friend? Do we know him? Did you work with him? And you're like, uh, wait a minute, hold
Look,
on.
all I can say is Tashi's birthday last year, her circle, that was all of
Was
us.
there?
It was there at her birthday dinner.
That's it.
That end the story.
That's good.
That's
That
the only people that showed up. All but one. All but one.
right. So I'm
No, but
gonna.
Yep.
that's the way it's supposed to be, though, right? That's the way
It
it's
is.
supposed to be.
It is.
Got to
I mean,
protect your circle. Ask
right.
those
Yeah.
questions. Make sure that they don't make any wrong. Nobody makes any wrong decisions.
Mhm.
Right.
Yep. Look out for
Yeah.
you.
Right.
So,
So
but as far as that getting hurt or getting in your feelings by something that an associate or someone outside your circle
no,
does or says, no,
no, no,
I
no.
don't. I don't even feel no kind of way.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go through the different types of relationships and the types of grief that may show up with those relationships when it comes to rejection, right? So
Okay.
romantic relationships. Okay. So we know that's breakup, divorce, whatever, being turned down, axed out for whatever, however that goes, right? So that type of grief is the loss of a shared future imagined, right? The loss of intimacy
Mm.
and the identity that you may have had as a partner, right? That's that one. Okay.
Hmm.
Friendships. As far as grief goes, there, the type of grief that's experienced with friendships um is loss of connection, shared history, and mutual support.
Yeah, I can see that.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is this thing talking about? I don't know. I'm trying to do TikTok and the whole nine. Okay. Then family. When it comes to that, that is longing for unconditional love, feeling unseen or unaccepted by those that's meant to care for us the most.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay. Then with
Hmm.
career and professional life, the type of grief that we experience with rejection there is loss of professional identity, stability, and a sense of contribution, right?
Hmm.
Number 5, creative and personal dreams. The type of grief that displays there is mourning the loss of being understood or valued for your unique vision. Okay.
Hmm.
Number 6 is social and community belonging. And with that, that's grieving the loss of belonging, shared cultures, or acceptance. So I want to say with that, that's like the not being invited or feeling out of place in a group or being excluded based on your identity. So we know what that is, right?
Hmm.
Okay. Then self rejection, right? And
That's
Hmm.
that's,
real.
excuse me, and that's internalizing negative messages and believing you're unworthy before others even say it. So this is self-rejection. And the grief that comes with that is grieving the parts of yourself you hidden, suppressed, or even given up on. So those are the seven different types and different ways we grieve in rejection when it comes to connections and relationships with people.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So,
Okay.
but that's and those that is revelational to know how grief affects us in each area.
Right.
Okay. So again,
Yeah.
romantic relationships, loss
Yeah.
of shared, future image, intimacy, identity as, you with that partner, as that person's partner, friendship, the loss of connection, shared history, mutual support, family, the longing for unconditional love, feeling unseen or unaccepted by those meant to care for you the most. In career and professional life, it's the loss of professional identity, stability, or a sense of contribution. Creative and personal dreams. So with that, that's mourning the loss of being understood or valued for your unique vision. So imagine how like artists feel, writers feel, um, and if you really don't have that support system where you're submitting projects and films and it's constantly no, 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 then your creativity eventually, it kind of gets stifled. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or you don't feel
Yeah.
like you can create anymore. You're like, I'm stuck. I have writer's block. I can't produce. I can't. And then with social and community belonging, that's the grief or grieving the loss of belonging, shared cultures, or acceptance, right? So, not being invited, feeling out of place in a group, or being excluded based off of your identity. And we know a
Well,
lot.
I've had all of them except the community and the work one.
And then the self rejection, that's that internalizing negative messages and believing you're unworthy before others even say it. That's that, you know, grieving parts of yourself you've hidden, suppressed, or given up on. So for me, like that last one,
Self-loathing.
no, not necessarily self-loathing. I mean, I would say it's that last one is I'm gonna use that with dating, right? Talk about dating.
Mm-hmm.
When we as women tend to downplay our achievements,
Mm.
right? So you go on a date and it's, hey, what do you do? What do what are your accomplishments? And we'll go, oh, well, I'll use myself for example. I'll just might say I have my bachelor's degree in psychology and I work as a mental health case manager. I left a whole lot out of that.
A whole lot.
And
And you'd be glad that I'm not around.
okay.
You'll be real glad that I wasn't around.
So, and I'll just use that as an example. So I just left a whole lot of accomplishments out of
Out.
it
Right.
because I either don't, I mean, like, and some women feel like this, like they don't want to outshine or they don't want to shine so bright when they're getting to know someone that they they just put a cap on their accomplishments. And I say stop that because, honey, I will quickly BA in psychology, MED, adult education and development, published author, produced playwright, podcast production, uh,
But
motivation,
do men do that though?
huh?
I've never heard of a man keeping back his accomplishments to fit in. I've never heard of a man doing that.
Men don't
Do
do this.
men do that?
Do it.
Kareem?
Sometimes,
Oh, sometimes. What
sometimes,
will be the reason?
depending on who you're around, because it depends on the aspect of the jealousy, of
Mm,
the the environment. I mean, like, when it comes to like sports, no, I mean that's always
mm,
gonna be like, no, I did this. But when it comes to, well, with African descendant men, especially, it's like it's more of a, oh, like, what I mean. It kind of gets looked at like, oh, okay, so now you putting all that energy out, but then it's different. It depends on the aspect of where you're at. If you're at like a
mm.
convention, then the accolades will come out, and you're like, okay, cool. Then I can talk to you about this, hopefully. But once, okay, let me put it in a situation. So I was at a convention, and we're talking to people, and the dude was like, oh, I did this, and this. Or better yet, old boy Mike, who they put out all these accolades, and then you start to ask him about stuff, and then you realize that they just putting out accolades and don't have nothing behind it. Like, you You don't know what you're talking about.
Mm,
And then once you
mm,
check like that, and somebody's like, you see the face, you know what I mean? And then now everybody's like, wait a minute, why did he do that? And then like, what's your thoughts on what he just said? And then you break it down, the person breaks it down like, nah, they coming from left field with this. They're not coming straight way, they coming left way. And you like, oh, okay, now everybody gonna walk away. Now that dude is cased as you's a straight, not you a liar, basically. You know what I mean? Like you played yourself. And so that's the whole you have to be careful with men when you start placing those accolades, because if somebody checks you,
right.
calls you on it, oh, you this and that. Okay, let's talk about this and that now. Now all of a sudden you like you know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
So
So you can't really talk to. They won't be able to really talk to whatever their accolades is. They just throwing out accolades to think that's gonna hype them up.
exactly.
Right.
And when you get
Gotcha.
called on it, then it's just like so me from New York. So if you was to say, oh yeah, back in the days I used to walk down this block, and then somebody's like, oh, so you know so and so. So the sneaky part about that is they get to be throwing out a name. Everybody else knows that dude ain't nobody, but you're like, yeah, I know him, and they're like, word, what's he look like?
Right.
And so you get called on the carpet for your stuff, and then
Yeah.
you play it out there, Oh, I thought you knew so and so. Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't
I had that done to me
I
before.
just threw out a name that wasn't nobody. So your street
Yeah.
cred is right, just like that. Now where you going? Where you going the next time you run into these group of people? They're looking at you like you're a cornball. And then in the
Yeah.
business sense of it all, you talking about like Mike. Oh, I did this, I did this. Okay, well, put me on to how I get this and I need that. And they come with, oh, let me get back to you. And now 6 months went down the road and you ain't hear from them.
Right.
So what you gonna do next time you see this quote unquote professional person? You're gonna let everybody know, hey, that's the dude that isn't what he says he's supposed to be. Or they done
That's the
took
second move.
Right. And I
That's the
think
second move.
right, and that's the thing about like where Tasha, I would say where Tasha and I are. We associate with some high profile individuals. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unless you have seen us in a photo with these individuals, we're not dropping names.
Nah.
We're not dropping their names. And you have to see us in consistent photos over and over and over again with these individuals.
Right.
To know that we know them and
Right.
that we are working with them in some kind of capacity, or they work with us in some kind of capacity, what have you. So name dropping is something we're not going to do for the protection of these high profile
Individual. Yeah, and furthermore, I'm not the stereotypical person. Like I'm not gonna name drop. And two, I am the textbook definition of be leery of who you talk about around people because you don't know who.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you stand there, you talking about, I know Mimosa from blah 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 blah, and my ears will perk up like a dog, but I won't say that's my girl. Like I never, I'll be like, oh, you do, oh, okay, and then let one negative comment come out. Oh, for real? So you know her, huh? Because I'm just gonna go back and tell her.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
But
right.
that's holding the circle together, right? That's what I look
Yes,
at it. You ain't gonna let nobody disparage your friend. You know what I mean?
no,
Like
absolutely not.
that's holding everybody accountable in your circle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but even if it was like, I work with some high profile doctors, and
Mm-hmm.
I've been places where people have talked negatively of my doctors. And I claim them because I work with them. Like most of my time is spent at this clinic, at this hospital. Like most of my day is at the hospital with them. So I spend more time with them than I do with my family most of the time.
Right.
So I'm not gonna let you, especially if I have a close connection with this doctor, I'm not gonna let you talk disparagingly of my doctor.
Mm-hmm.
and he's by high, he or she or they are high profile. What you mean? Tell me more. Please tell me more.
Right.
Do tell. Let me hear. So.
Right. That's just like when I worked for Georgia infectious disease. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
I had there were two high profile doctors that I worked that were in that office that I worked for. We had celebrities that came in that office.
Right.
Look,
Mm. They just people.
exactly.
They
Hmm.
just people.
Yep.
They just people. I'm not that. I'm not that. I'm not that person. They just people. So until you say something bad, and then you better pray that my maturity kicks in.
Right.
Cause then I got 4 or 5 syllable letter words to say to you.
Hmm.
Yeah,
So
sometimes the word ain't even necessary. Sometimes it's
yep,
just physical. You might get out of
yeah,
pocket.
that part.
You
Hmm.
know, it's
So
crazy. It's crazy. Just you know, I think that's the other part that we didn't talk about was the crazy part of rejection.
Hmm.
Where people get rejected
Right.
and they just feel that everybody should go because they got rejected. It's just like, wait a minute, like you got rejected, so you are going to act out and get physical. That part should never ever be part of the equation. But
right,
some people who will take the rejection, there's two parts to that. They'll take the rejection and get physical, and then they'll take the rejection and
Hmm.
then and turn it around. Not hear the part like, okay, there's healthy. Let me stop. Let me back up. Healthy rejection, where you have to tell somebody, you know what, it ain't working out. Like you talking about our friends behind their back. You know what? Maybe we shouldn't hang out no more. That's a healthy
Hmm.
rejection. But then people will take that rejection and turn it around like as if you're the problem, you
Hmm.
know.
right,
And then they'll take the
yeah,
rejection and want it physical. Like, how dare you reject me? I'm not negative. Like, I'm not. And they start breaking stuff, and you're like, I'm just trying to separate easily, copacetically. And here you are. Now we're getting physical. Stuff is being thrown, you
Hmm.
know.
right,
And it's like those are the rejections that should never happen. And I don't know.
right.
I guess
Physical
that's,
rejection.
yeah, physical rejection. It's like if I'm coming to you and saying I need to pull away because I'm feeling this is unhealthy. A lot of people will turn it around. Oh my, and that should never happen. These
Hmm.
Right,
things should never happen. You shouldn't have to somebody tell you why they're rejecting you, and then you feel that I'm gonna take it and now throw it back at you like, no, you're the problem. If you're
mm,
not listening to what the rejection is, you know, to why
Hmm.
they're rejecting you. Did that make sense?
yes.
Like you going around every
Hmm.
time you get mad, you slashing my car up.
You want to fight. You want to
You know,
fight. You want to be
cutting up my
aggressive.
toes.
Every time you get your feelings hurt, you want to punch
Right.
somebody in the eye. Yeah,
Right.
no.
Exactly.
Part. That
Yeah,
part.
it's that
But you
maturity
know
level.
what? But you know what? People do that with grief too.
Yeah.
Hmm. The anger.
Some people have so much anger when they go through grief that they lash out.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And I don't necessarily agree with that. I know I understand it. Like I'm in the medical field, so I understand it, but I don't agree with it. Like you
Right.
ain't got no reason to break nothing, especially nothing that you own or somebody else own because you grieving.
But
You
they
lost
don't
your job.
and they don't understand it's how they react, people's reaction, again, maturity level. So
Right.
when it comes to, and then being that Kareem brought up, healthy rejection, let's
Yeah.
give that a definition for the listeners, right? So
Right.
healthy rejection is grief. Healthy rejection in grief means like setting boundaries and protecting your emotions and your emotional well-being even if it includes saying no to certain people, situations, or narratives
Mm,
without shutting yourself off from life or hard feelings.
Yeah.
Right?
yeah.
So, and it's not about rejecting the grief itself because that needs to be felt, but it's about rejecting what deepens the wound or distorts the healing,
Gotcha.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And so with that, when it comes to healthy rejection and grief, right?
Mm-hmm.
Reject harmful narratives, right? So, and
Mm-hmm.
that's letting go of guilt or shame that doesn't belong to you. Because a lot of times when it comes to grief and rejection, we will hold on to guilt. Well, we will hold on to shame that's not ours. We have no business holding on to it at
Mm.
all,
Right.
right?
Right.
So,
Right.
and it's about saying like, I'm not going to believe that my loss makes me broken or unlovable. Okay. Um, rejecting unhealthy comparisons, like refusing to measure your grief timeline against others, or understanding that your healing is not a race. And it's not about, well, why I can't get over it fast enough, right? That's
Right.
okay. I should, or somebody telling you to get over it fast enough. That's not for anybody else to say. Um,
Right.
rejection or rejecting re-injury, right? So choose
Right.
not to engage with the people, the place that triggered your harm or didn't support your growth. And like limiting exposure to dismissive or judgmental voices. So, and that's that you got to definitely hold on to it in your mind. And when it says like choose not to engage in people or places, I can tell you, like, even though I worked for said hospital here in Atlanta, that is also in Athens, and was let go when I became a supervisor in Athens and was pissed because it was personal. That was a
Mm-hmm.
personal attack. And it was personal because I remember looking at this manager's face and she was like biting her bottom lip because she couldn't wait to tell me what needed, that I no longer, that as of that day, I was terminated.
Mm.
And I remember the look on her face. I remember the look on her face. I remember her reaction. And the only thing I could do was just put my head down. And I looked up and I remember throwing my keys at her. You know what I'm saying? Because it was very personal. She because she thought I was after her job. I wanted her job. Needless did she know I could care less. I did not want her job.
Mm.
First of all, I didn't like being in Athens. I had to drive an hour to work, hour and a half to work every day at home, back and forth. Think no, I didn't like.
No.
I didn't like it, and I was
Right.
going to get my way out of there. You know, but I always said, my Emmy Award speech is my Emmy my Emmy Award speech is ready. Okay, I done practiced this thing so many times. Thank you for thank, thank you so and so for terminating me from said hospital in Athens. You know what I'm saying? Thank you. This goes to you. This, you know what I'm saying? I done practice my Emmy speeches over and over again. Thank you. This goes to every employer and supervisor and
When you go up there, you be like, "Ah,
man.
I knew this day was coming."
You know what I'm saying? And I remember being on the phone with HR because I was explaining to them, like, listen, this was wrong. This was personal. This was truly personal. This had nothing to do because there were no write-ups, there was no, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, how you gonna put me back on approaching? I mean, it was really, really personal. So, and I remember telling the guy, one of the HR people over the phone, I said, you know what? When I get my Emmy, you can rest assured.
Oh wow.
You can rest assured, y'all will be thanked.
I
Yes.
don't. I'm not gonna say that I'm gonna get an Emmy, but if I'm ever recognized, I got a few people that I want to recognize. It's definitely not no employees, no staff, or nothing about no job. As I've already said, I could care less.
People that push you
No.
forward to your greatness.
I have
Yes.
right. I have a list. I have a list, believe it or not, of thank yous. I'm
I
personally.
don't know if I don't know if I'm gonna say thank you. I think that's why I haven't gotten recognized yet because I'm not saying thank you.
Oh yes, I'm saying thank you. I'm thinking. I'm
There's a
thinking.
there's a you in it, but there ain't a thanks to it.
There's the thank you, honey. It's a
And
sarcastic,
Snoop Dogg say, "I want to thank me."
right? Me and me. But
Yeah.
so, but with that, yes, reject avoidance as your only coping tool. Hmm.
Hmm.
Okay. Allow
Mm,
space for pain while still protecting your mental health, right?
mm,
Balance moments of feelings with moments of rest. Okay.
mm,
And
mhm,
finally, reject permanence in hopelessness. So acknowledging that I feel hopeless now or helpless now is not the same as I will always feel this way.
That's good.
mhm,
Right?
mhm.
So, any final thoughts before we close? Nurse Tashi.
Um, not really. We covered so much. We covered so much. It's like trying to recap. The things that stand out most to me is about how you handle things, um, and being okay with expressing your grief
Mm-hmm.
and who you express your grief to. I think you need to have someone, a circle that you can, whether it's your barbershop or your group of friends or whatever, to express your grief to because you are going to have them. You can't avoid it, whether it's loss of a job or relationship, whatever the loss is.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have a grief. You just need to have your own support system, whether a go to.
Right.
So that go to should be, like Kareem said, your barbershop, your friends, the ones you meet at the basketball court, whatever. Or like me, my top five,
Mm-hmm.
uh, or, whatever. But you need to have a way to express yourself, even though I don't. But I do express myself to y'all. So
Right.
I guess I do. I don't completely shut down, but yeah, you need to have a way to express yourself. Don't keep it bottled in and don't use aggression. That's my take.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Cousin Kareem.
Yeah. I think I agree with Tasha said. Keep your circle tight. You don't really need more than 5 friends. I mean, you don't want everybody knowing all your business. But yeah, that circle should be some people who can lift you up and knock you sideways when you off on the wrong, get you back on track.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Helpfully, you should have a circle of friends that when you start sounding a different way, they like, and they should be able to check you, and you
Right.
shouldn't
Yeah.
feel in a way about it. You shouldn't have. You should have a group, your circle, friends who can tell you about yourself and remind you who you are. Because sometimes
Mhm.
we get off track. Sometimes things can be pushed at us so hard and we might not want to share, that it only takes that friend, one or two of them, to say, hey, why are you acting like this? What is really going on? Stop what you're doing. You need to call me back at some point in time so we can get through this.
Right.
Because you ain't sounding like yourself. You need to get your butt
Right.
back on track. So if you don't got that, then you need to get it. And if you evaluate, you need to check yourself and your circle to see if that's what you're receiving. Because if you're not receiving that, then the people that you think you got as a circle aren't your circle. You need to elevate and move past them on the people who mature enough to actually care about you, to tell you about yourself in a constructive way. There's two types of criticisms: criticism and constructive criticism.
Right.
So if you ain't getting that constructive criticism, are they your real friends?
Right.
Facts.
So
that's all I
got. So with that, just keep in mind when it comes to rejection and grief, there is a healthy part or healthy take to it, and that is it creates a safe container for grief without letting it spill into every part of your life. It helps you protect your identity so the loss doesn't become your only story, and it keeps you connected to hope, even in small doses. So with that, again, we grieve rejection differently, right? For some, it's quiet withdrawal. For others, it's tears and venting to a friend. But either way, your pain is valid and your heartbreak is very, very real. So, and if you're feeling overwhelmed, of course, here's a few gentle like next steps you can take. Of course, reach out to a therapist or a grief counselor. I highly strongly believe in therapy, talking to a therapist or a counselor to help you navigate. It's an objective second party that you can spill into to help you, take another look or perspective of what you're going through. Try journaling, right? There is books like The Body Keeps the Score, Attached or Untamed. All right. So yes. And I'll post that up for anybody who wants to know exactly where to get it. More than likely it's probably on Amazon. It's bookstores still exist. I think Barnes and Noble still open. Are they still open? But remember, healing does not mean the pain never happened. It means you've learned how to live alongside it without letting it define you. So thank you for joining us today on this journey through grief, healing, and remembrance. Of course, grief is not something we simply get over. Right. It's something we learn to carry that shapes us and something that teaches us about love and resilience. As you move through your own process, remember to be patient with yourself. There's no timeline, no right or wrong way to grieve. Honor your feelings, embrace the memories, and allow yourself space to heal in your own time. If today's episode resonated with you, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Of course, feel free to reach out, share your story, or let us know how grief has shaped your journey. And if you know someone who might need to hear this conversation, of course, share this episode with them. You can always reach out to us on IG, Instagram at Queen of Life Empowerment or SBSH Grief Podcast, on Facebook at Sometimes We Boujee, Sometimes We Hood. Come on, get us to this 100 followers. We almost there. On TikTok at Sometimes Boujee and Hood. And until next time, be kind to yourself, hold space for your emotions, and remember, you're never alone in this journey. Take gentle care of yourself. You carry the most beautiful love there is, and you don't have to walk this road in silence. Your love and your light still matters. And with that, good night.
Good night.
Peace.
It's a podcast dedicated to exploring the complex emotions of loss, the road to healing, and the strength found in remembrance.